How did the universe evolve? Can we develop nanoscale materials to help solve the energy crisis? What takes place in the brain of an addict? To answer these questions, and many, many more, scientists at Brookhaven National Laboratory engage in discovery every day. Brookhaven Lab is a world-renowned center for basic and applied scientific research. In the course of the lab 6+ decades, 6 Nobel Prizes have been awarded for work done at Brookhaven. The laboratory is managed by Brookhaven Science Associates, whose partners are Stony Brook University and Battelle, and whose board is made up of representatives from Columbia, Cornell, Harvard, MIT, Princeton, and Yale. Brookhaven is funded primarily by the U.S. Department of Energy, a key supporter of science and technology in the United States. The department's Office of Science manages research at 10 national laboratories, the backbone of American science. At these labs, the world's best scientists tackle some of the most challenging scientific questions of our time. From new treatments for drug and alcohol addictions to the World Wide Web, life today is easier and richer thanks to basic research and applied research. Established in 1947, Brookhaven Lab is located on Long Island, 60 miles east of New York City. The laboratory campus has some 350 structures, all nestled in a 5,300-acre pine forest, most of it undeveloped. A big part of what we do is design, build, and operate large research facilities, where every year we welcome over 5,000 guest scientists. Our most famous facility is the Relativistic Heavy Ion Collider, known as RIC. Seen from above, RIC looks like a giant racetrack. And that's just what it is, a racetrack for atoms of gold. 2 gold beams circulating at nearly the speed of light collide head-on, releasing enormous amounts of energy. Under these conditions, physicists have glimpsed matter that last existed microseconds after the birth of the universe, giving priceless information about how it evolved. And what did they discover? Surprisingly, a new state of hot, dense matter, a perfect liquid. Our newest facility is the Center for Functional Nanomaterials. The Nanocenter is a hub for cutting-edge studies in many fields with the potential to bring about and accelerate new energy technologies and reduce the nation's dependence on fossil fuels. Materials at the nanoscale are typically 10,000 times smaller than a human hair. At that scale, they may have different physical and chemical properties than bulk materials. Carbon nanotubes, for example, are cylindrical carbon molecules that have exceptional electric and structural properties for their size. While designing and fabricating new materials at the Nanocenter, we will use our national synchrotron light source to analyze these new nanomaterials. Our light source is one of the busiest user facilities in the world, attracting about 2,200 scientists each year from universities, government labs, and private industry. Interaction with industry is an important part of Brookhaven's effort to bring new ideas out of the research lab and into the real world. Researchers at the light source use its bright beams of X-ray, ultraviolet, and infrared light to get detailed information about a wide variety of materials, yielding discoveries that range from the very first images of the AIDS virus attaching itself to a human cell to novel techniques for making smaller and faster computer chips. Rod McKinnon, a light source user from Rockefeller University, won a Nobel Prize for explaining how a class of proteins helps to generate nerve impulses in the human body. Always thinking ahead to the next tool that will enable innovative science, Brookhaven has proposed building a successor to our existing national synchrotron light source. The new facility, NSLS-2, will be brighter than any other light source in the world, giving researchers here a strong competitive edge. Brookhaven's past research in medicine led to such medical standards as L-DOPA to relieve the symptoms of Parkinson's disease and a tracer commonly used in heart stress tests. Brookhaven Lab was a leader in the development of positron emission tomography, or PET. Investigations using this technology led to a decade of pioneering studies to understand brain chemistry, mental disorders, and substance abuse. Recently, Brookhaven scientists and collaborators have identified a drug that shows great promise in helping people control addiction to substances like cocaine and nicotine. Our biologists are probing the fundamentals of life. Often, the payoff comes in the form of something practical, like a Lyme disease vaccine. And researchers have for the first time morphed a plant enzyme into one with a different function. This paves the way for designer plants to meet the needs of a growing world for food, fuel, and renewable raw materials for industry. Much environmental research at Brookhaven relates to global climate change. We study plant growth under increased levels of carbon dioxide, a major greenhouse gas. We also gather and analyze data on atmospheric aerosols, which are tiny particles released into the air from burning fossil fuels. Post 9/11, Brookhaven scientists work on safeguarding nuclear, chemical, and biological materials to fight terrorism around the world. In the urban canyons of New York City, we've done field work to provide important data for computer models that predict how contaminants would move in city winds during different seasons. This is invaluable to first responders in the event of an accidental or deliberate release. Where do the scientists of tomorrow come from? We train them today. Each year, Brookhaven provides hands-on science and research experiences for thousands of students, from youngsters in elementary school to postdocs out of graduate school. Equally important, we also work with teachers to improve the quality of education in science, technology, and mathematics. The lab is one of the top high-tech employers on Long Island, with a staff of more than 2,600. Working alongside our scientists and engineers are dedicated specialists in such fields as instrumentation, computers, and environment, safety, and health. As a large organization, we also rely on the talent and skills of our administrative and support personnel to keep the laboratory running smoothly. In this new millennium, Brookhaven Lab remains critical to the region's future economic growth and to the nation's science agenda. We look forward with a passion for discovery.